Action. All right, we're going to get caught up. You have been told over your mathematic career that you cannot have 0 in the denominator. You cannot have 0 in the denominator. You probably heard that when you were at elementary in Red Rocks, in elementary? Bailey, Woodbury, Middleton, Juvie, wherever you were, you probably learned you can't have 0 in a denominator in Colorado school. All right. Hey, I'm not allowed by law to give you any money. Weirdly, you're allowed to give me a lot. God, no, we can't. Okay. Start over. All right. I'm not allowed to give you any money, but I'm going to ask you a question. Raise your hand, please. If I were allowed to give you some money, I'm going to ask you how many? Yeah, might as well. I wouldn't mind it. Or, nah, never mind. Don't bother. So, if I were allowed to give you that much money, how many say, yeah, sure, why not? All right, anybody? We got 1, 2, 3, all right, 4, 5. Yeah, 4 or 5. How many? Ah, don't bother. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, how many didn't raise your hand? All right, losers. Okay, all right. Jeez, cut. All right. I'd like you to do something. Get out your calculator if you got one. And don't use your calculator. Shout out, what's 5 divided by 1? 5. Cool. All right. You might or might not want to use your calculator in the next one. 5 divided by 1/10. Some people have done it without the calculator. I've heard some shouting. Say it.
50.
It's $50. All right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do 5 divided by 0.01, please. I'm listening. 500. I'm going to do something, and I know it's cold, flu, and COVID season, so I'll cover up. But I'm going to read that number properly out loud. 100th. It's 100th. Hey, and was the answer 500? 100th is 500. Would you please cover up because it's cold, flu, and COVID season? And would you say what that number is? 1,000th? Hey, what's that worth? 5,000. Oh, are we getting a little pattern here? Yeah. This is worth 5,000. I'm going to put millionths. Tenths, hundreds, thousand, 10,000, 100,000, millionth. That's the millionth. What's that worth? It's worth 5 million. All right, I'd like you to just get your brain going here. First of all, as the denominator is getting closer to 0, it keeps getting closer to, what happens to the value? The value keeps getting bigger. In fact, is this number closer to super huge? Is that number pretty close to super huge? Yeah. So those of you that raised your hand, that would be all the money in the universe times the Google times all the money in the universe plus 103. All right? Those of you that raised your hand and said, oh, don't bother, you might have been thinking that's pretty close to 0. Is that what some of you were thinking? So it's not close to 0. It's close to huge. It's close to huge. And also, please wrap your mind around this. Would there be that's a 5. Would there be a number value to that? Would there be a number value to that? Would there be? Say yes. But now, do you see why we wouldn't know what number value to give that one? Does that make sense to some people? Shake head if it makes sense that we just wouldn't know what to give it. Because, yeah, okay. So that's why you cannot divide by 0. That's why you cannot divide by 0. There simply is no value. Now, don't confuse that to the other one. This is the ultimate happy, sad story problem. What's that worth? 0. This is the happy, sad story problem. You have no money, and you divide it amongst your 9 friends. How much does everybody get? 0. It's happy, sad. Everyone gets 0, but you have 9 friends. So I mean, no money, but so it's the happy, sad problem. All right, the first lesson, that was during my absence, and maybe some of you were absent, I heard as well. The first one says this. It says, identify, and if some of you think you need to write this down because I wasn't here, identify, I want to write this the way they did, x values where undefined. And the little thing that I just did with money, just recently, when you had 1 on the bottom, we didn't know what it was worth. When you had 0 on the bottom. So on problem number 2, it says, where is this undefined? And it is 4x to the something, 4x to the 6th over 2x minus 6. How about we get participation, including the new children? All right. It's undefined when the denominator equals 0. It's undefined when the denominator equals 0. So here's how we solve this problem. Our solution is to write 2x minus 6 cannot be equal to 0. So we're finding out where it can't be equal to 0. Let's add 6 to both sides. X can't be 3. It is undefined when x is worth 3. Because that makes the bottom 0. Well, that's pretty interesting. So when the bottom, the denominator, equals 0, undefined. All right, number 2.
Wait, so that's the answer?
That's the answer. X cannot be 3.
So you don't take off the 2.
When it says what's undefined, it just needs this. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Those of you that are new kids, you are about to hear joyful noises from the returning kids when they see this problem. And I tell them something, you're going to hear joyful noises. This is not yet to be the joyful noise. The joyful noise is not quite yet. So to find where it's undefined, we find where the what is equal to what? The bottom denominator is equal to 0. All right, this is going to be fun. Do you know what we got to do to the bottom? F. A factor. Ooh, factor. Oh my goodness. I'm not allowed to turn the camera to you, but the joy on your face is, we get to factor. All right. Well, with all the mathematical teachers, and oh, by the way, we only have to factor the bottom. So all the mathematical teachers in Woodbury decided, with Mrs. Castleberry's help, we got to do the same way. And you children from other teachers, did you multiply and say we want it to multiply to be 42 and look in the middle and say add a negative 23, and I'm going to call you out and say yes we did? Is that how you did it when you were gone? Say yes we did?
Yes, we did.
You didn't teach this one? Huh? Warner? Okay. Oh, we got new children that aren't here. Most of the rest of us are old children. All right, here's what I suggest. Make maybe a little chart. Multiplies to be 42. 1 times 42. Does that add up to be negative 23? No. So let's go, how about 2 times 21? Does that multiply to 42? Does it almost add up to negative 23?
We need a.
Yeah. When it adds up, we just need a. We need a. Yep. Cool. All right. We write 6x squared, and now we take these two. Minus 2x minus 21x. Right now, for 2 seconds, turn to your neighbor and say, hey, that's the same. Hey, that's the same. There you go. There you go. We just replaced, substituted this for this. All right.
Now we combine.
Oh, we do combine. Little groups of two. I said little groupies of two first time. The little groupie, those are like people that like follow rock stars around now. Hey, 2 goes into both. X goes into both. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Please remember, if this is a negative, pull a negative. There is a 7 that goes into both of them, so let's pull out a negative 7. Negative 21 divided by negative 7 is positive 3. Positive divided by negative is negative. I have 2x of these, and some Eastridge kid took away 7 of them. I've got 2x minus 7, 3x minus 1.
I hate factoring so much.
Really? You didn't teach that one? Yeah, I know what weight is. Okay, once you've factored, what we have to do is make sure it's not equal to 0. If you came from other teachers, they called it the zero product property. We call it the big T. Because it looks like a big, it is the zero product property, but we call it the big T because it looks like a big T. And we write 2x minus 7 equals 0. You can't see if you're in the back, just watch the video later. Okay. I know you didn't pay enough taxes or something if you're way back there. All right. I said 2x minus 7 equals 0. Took it away to put it back. And these are the values. It cannot be. X cannot be 1/3. X cannot be 7/2. The joy when I tell you we've just started, but I have to stop this video because this new way, the videos can only go 15 minutes, and this video